All I hear is talking, I don't sweat that. If they don't trust me either, I respect that. But she be down the ride, oh, I bet that.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is J.H. How you doing, Postal family? Is everybody good? Is everybody cool? Everybody clean? Are you crisp? Are you feeling irie today? Let's talk. Listen, this upcoming Monday, the day after Easter, we are going to be going live with Mike Cariff. I am going to have the phone lines open. I will be accepting 10 phone calls with one question per person. Whatever question, he is ready to answer whatever question. He doesn't have a mouthpiece. He'll answer your questions. Make sure it's respectful, but as hard as you can possibly ask him. And put him to the test. Put him to the test. See how he does. Yeah. Listen, we heard Renfro basically dog everyone else out. I had the audio playing yesterday, but I have a small clip. I wanted to dissect this clip, and I probably dissect it with the rest of the carriers, but I wanted to dissect a small clip, and it was pretty it was towards the end of it where the union representative, I don't know if he was a shop steward or if he was part of the union, and he was speaking in regards to the rules and the hours and letters of removal. And what struck me was that Brian Renfro basically said, you know, when it's come to a letter of removal, he knows that, what can we do at this point? I'm going to let you hear this clip. It's a short clip. And once we're done with it, we're going to chop it up and I'll give my perspective behind it on the foolery, and then also give, unfortunately, the other perspective with it. Listen to this clip and tell me what you think. All right? Check it out.
I will agree to disagree.
With what do you disagree?
Brother, those resolutions don't exist. You can't tell me they do. No one in this room would go against the 12-hour limit.
Are you telling me there's no resolution? You're telling me there's no resolution that exists to allow people to clock out and go home when they reach maximum work hours?
Are you telling me that there's a resolution that exists that allows people to work over 12 hours?
No, I'm not telling you that.
That was what you bargained for, sir.
No, what we bargained.
Yes, you did.
What we bargained is to allow people to end their tour on their own, no matter what management says, and go home when they reach maximum work hours. An official bargaining position of the NALC. So let's talk about now. Here's what it is right now. Right now, they can force anybody to work over it. What's going to not be the case in the future is those that want to do it can do it, just like they can do it now, if management lets them. And those that don't want to do it, the contract protects them from discipline. So here, what changed? That's what changes.
Yep, CCAs.
Nothing changes. There's no change for CCAs or PTFs.
I'm still waiting for you to answer the question. What resolution that was passed at a national convention was for carriers to volunteer to work over the 1260 limits?
I don't think there's not a resolution.
So when we voted no, you should not have included that provision. You should have said, nope, we're not bringing this.
What did we get for it?
What did we get for it? What did we get for that?
The ability to go home.
That won't happen.
Yes.
When have you been on a work week floor?
Arbitrators have already had our side.
Yeah, where?
That award that
Where?
says the 12 hours is an absolute.
Where? Tell me where a case is.
When
Where?
it comes to discipline.
Tell me where a case, you tell me where arbitrators have granted protection from discipline. There's 3 places around the whole country. And then we'll talk about the cases we've lost, where they did not grant it. You know what? Now every single letter carrier, when they get to their maximum work hours, this bullshit of the last 35 years of interpreting Mittenthal's award wrong by NALC people and the Postal Service, gone.
No.
If we had better
discipline, you clock out and go home.
if we had better wages, we wouldn't have to work over 60.
Was, and that is what we negotiated.
That's what I'm saying. More pay, we wouldn't have to go over 60.
That's what they got out of you. They got one on you, Brian.
No, they didn't get
They looked at
anything
you and
on
said,
that.
we're going to have these people volunteer to work over 12 hours.
They'll be forced.
I'm going to have
They will be
carriers who are
forced.
brand new being forced to work over with the threat of being issued a letter of separation. That's going to happen.
No,
I'm
you
gonna
should-
have brand new
perhaps you should-
CCAs
no, I
being
think-
told, keep going or you're fired. It's
Perhaps-
going to happen.
no, I think you should read the new employee experience MOU.
Gotta get people that want to apply
Brand new
first.
barriers, that's a huge piece
They
of
can
this.
remove. They can issue a letter of separation during your probationary period, regardless of any reason.
Yeah, there's no
Those
change to
MOUs that
that.
you sign on don't protect them.
Yeah, there's no change to that.
I know.
And you're not going,
they're
and
the
no
ones
one
that are
else
getting
is going to
abused from it.
negotiate that either.
And they're going to be abused with it. Before I could file a grievance of them working over and make them pay my monetary escalation. Management sat there and says, well, I'm not going to pay that extra money. I'm not going to do this to these people. Now they're looking at me saying, good luck. I'm just going to keep doing it. If they refuse, I'll fire them. I'll hire somebody else and we'll do it all over again. That's what they're telling us already.
We don't have a
That's
lot
what's
of
gonna
people
happen to
anymore.
our members.
Then just
Because
enforce
it's
your
your
own.
oversight.
No, enforce the agreement. Dude, you clearly do not have the contractual knowledge to have this
Do
conversation.
you not understand what a letter of separation is?
I
Have you ever
understand.
agreed one, sir? Have you ever agreed a letter of separation? What happens when it gets that beat?
He'll get one next year.
We don't win those. We don't win them.
Oh, you mean you send grievances to step B for people that didn't have access to the grievance procedure?
We try filing grievances for people that get issued letter of separation in hopes that we might get one over on management.
And what's your point with this?
You left them open to further abuse.
What do you mean left them
You
open? There's
did.
no change.
Because there's no deterrent anymore.
There's no change
They're
to access
being
to.
voluntold to do something over a threat of being fired.
There's no change to grievance rights for anyone.
Okay, let me intervene because we got other people that got questions. Elliot, you made your opinion very clear. You made
His
your opinion
answer
very
is clear. He's going to force us to drag him out.
Okay. Carriers. What do you think? The NALC isn't broken. It's working exactly how it was designed. For decades, they've been running protection racket on the new hires. And today, I'm going to blow the whole scheme wide open. At the end of the day, I don't need to blow it open because he blew it open himself. It's not just corruption. It's institutionalized betrayal. And the receipts were in his words when he was telling them, listen, point one is the probation scam. That's when they let you know, they take your dues immediately. Everybody had it. They went into your orientation or the beginning days, and they give you, basically nothing in return. They don't give you no information, and basically management, as what they said, has free reign to fire you for any reason during the probation period. The gentleman said, so they'll just fire them and just hire somebody new after they work them like dogs. They get the job done, fire them. Okay, there's no protection. Enough with that shit where I'm sitting there going back and forth. They can't protect you within the first 90 days. Okay, so if there's no protection, what's the appeal for them signing up initially? There is none, really. Basically, it's just thanks for the cash, sucker. And if you can't get the money back, or you don't get guaranteed anything, then what do you get from it? If it's not criminal, it should be. It should be. The dues trap on how they lock you in. They basically force you into paying for a full year up front while admitting initially they won't lift a finger to protect you. That's not a union. That's financial tyranny. Because at the end of the day, from the moment you sign on, you cannot get out the union for a full year. So the first part was they can fire you within 90 days, that probation period. And if you don't like your jobs, whatever it is, within the first 6 months, 8 months, and you realize you ain't got one, you're still stuck into it for a full year. So yeah, you're basically paying a full year up front. The Department of Labor basically calls this illegal. And the NALC does it anyway. I don't know, it's the Postal Service. They do it all the time. Point three, they got that predatory tactic. The union reps show up at all orientations or, right when they're getting signed up. And then they turn around, they shove paperwork in their face before they even went to the station, before they even gone to a route. They don't give no explanation that they don't have no basic rights. Just sign here and, you'll be part of this group. What group? What group? I know one time I spoke about it and I know I was supposed to stay in my lane and shit. I got in a lot of trouble just by mentioning in my class. And I learned to stay in my lane in my class about, look, man, you got 90 days to choose your lawyer. If you want to pay for your lawyer, at the end of the day, if you ain't doing nothing wrong, then, you go with it. And then, you got the people on the other side saying, well, you look at the grazes that we get. Look at the protection. Where? Listen to his whole spiel. Your national president, his whole spiel. Oh, this is what we can do. You can tie our hands. You can't tie our hands. Come on, man. The audio proof. Your national leadership basically laughs at your suffering while you're struggling to survive. He's arguing back and forth and had the audacity to say to that, I don't know who exactly that was, to say, you don't know how to interpret the contract, basically. Sometimes when you're sitting up top, you got to keep a cool head. They put that man in a place to represent the post office for something. And here he is, just holding the thumb down while he sits behind the desk, didn't like the tone of what the gentleman was talking. Yeah, the gentleman came all strong and hard, but that's what happens. People get criticized when you're sitting up at the top. That's what happens. These people are struggling to survive, and then these fat cat money, sitting at the top, they're counting their dues, and they're patting themselves on the back like he did a great job. He had the audacity to say, this arbitrator was in there from the 80s, and this one's been doing it from the 70s. Like, what? And we went in there. He smite his own mouth. And that's the first part of the video. He smite his own comment talking about, well, we can't just go in there with one part of it. How does it mean we can just argue one part? We can't just argue one part of it. You voted no for the whole thing. And basically, the guy was saying, look, we voted no on the whole contract. Well, we went in there and we negotiated on the money portion. We can all agree. And everyone said, no, that's not it. No, the whole shit was trash. But him unilaterally saying, hey, this is what I feel is best for you. I'm negotiating this for you. I am the beginning and the end all, the alpha and the omega, the beginning and the ending. What? That's the man that, and then when they said, will you step down? As a man of dignity, will you step down or will you make the membership drag you out? Come on, man. Mark my words. That house of cards sitting up the top, whether it's Corey and Henry, whether it's Cariff and Corey, or whatever combination they put in there, that house of cards is about to collapse. The new hires are waking up. The people that's been there are waking up. The older generation, they're about to retire within the next 10, 15 years. The local unions, which are all supposed to be lock in step with the top, they don't want to hear that shit. They're rebelling against the man at top. And when the next contract comes up, that same man is going to unilaterally take and say, hey, I'm going to negotiate on your behalf. No, they need to get rid of that corrupt system and build something that's actually going to work to protect the workers and give them the financial wages that they require. Now, I want to go back to the beginning where I was talking about the probation period for the new hires, and some of y'all might turn this off, but I honestly believe that it's just that. It's a probationary period. It's a 90-day trial period. And when he said there's no protection for him, there's just no protection. It's been that way, and no man's going to come in here and change that. That's what he said. He ain't going to fight for nothing different, but from a management's perspective, that's exactly what it is. The new hires, that's the time that they're supposed to have to weed the people out. You all say it all the time. You got trash workers, and if they don't slide through the cracks, then they get rid of them. But most of the time, they'll get slide through the traps. And then who is the union defending them? You know, during that 90-day period, they should be checking to see if the person's reliable. It's your probation tryout period. They need to know if you're going to report to work on time. They need to know if you're going to be cut out for the job. You know, they said they can fire you for whatever. You know, and the management needs to be able to let them go within that probation tryout period without union interference. That's my opinion. I agree with the fact that they shouldn't have to be able to represent them within the first 90 days. Weed them out. But I also disagree with the fact that the union shoves that paper in their face before their probation is over. The reason they do that is because after the 90 days, the union doesn't have to think, hey, they just hired 200 different people. I have to go to different stations and see if they want to sign up. Once the people are there for 90 days and they get a taste of what they're dealing with, they may not want to sign that paper. That's why they get that paper signed initially. It's trickery in the beginning, and then they convince people that they need this union in order to survive. And if you're not in the union, then you're a scab. That's the institutionalized mentality. Now, that doesn't mean that that the union isn't good as a whole. Actually, ain't even a damn union. But right now, what is good about it? 70+%, almost 80% of the membership does not feel like the union is working on their behalf. So what's good about it? Why and how does somebody convince somebody that's new or somebody that's there to stay? What is a justified reason to stay? Number one, obviously they need to stay if they want to have the voting capacity to vote the man out. It's number one. So those that are asking to get your union dues out, I know I did that video. I just gave you the information. But once you're out, you don't have no voting rights. Just remember that. So can't be upset if Renfro's back in there. But most importantly, your voice, that is your only form of voice that you would have in order to make change. Jay's words, change the culture, right? So I know that this kind of, dabbled in a couple different things. My point behind it is I don't like the fact that after hearing those bits from that rap session where Renfro basically said nobody is going to change that. He says that nobody is going to change that probationary period. Nobody's going to be able to stop that letter of removal. Nobody's going to be able to combat that. But in the beginning, or somewhere toward the middle, he said, we're sick and tired of this 35 years of blah, blah, blah. So it's like every time he talks against himself. If you listen to that thing that I played, the whole thing yesterday, you will hear how he talks back on his own words. It's talking about how you feel versus what's real. So I don't know. Y'all tell me what you think. Just be respectful in the comments. All right. This is JH and I'm out.